NSFAS has declared that as of tomorrow, 21st of November 2023, applications for 2024 will be opened. Whilst they welcome this with a level of course, deliberation, the union has urged students to make use of this opportunity and apply immediately. For more, the spokesperson of the union joins us for more. Asive Dlanjwa, a very good evening to you. Thanks so very much for joining us here on SABC News, sir.
Good evening, Flo, and also good evening to your listeners and
Sure. It seems that the deliberations with NSFAS are indeed getting somewhere. Talk to us about some of the inroads that have been made thus far.
Yes, there has been some developments, some positive, particularly as it pertains to the 2024, NSFAS funding. One of them is we had obviously bemoaned the late and the non-opening of applications. So in response, NSFAS then opened or declared that the applications will then open on the 21st of November, which is tomorrow. So we highly welcome this, obviously with reservations, owing to the fact that it's late. And secondly, the funding guidelines, so this is, if you like, the legislation that will inform how the funding will be dispersed, was not yet concluded. So pending and pursuant to our demands, NSFAS has since beginning today began to finalize their consultations, which they were left with SRCs. Those consultations should go up until the end of this week, and we are hopeful that by the beginning of next week, within the time frame that we had given them, we should have the funding guidelines concluded for the 2024 academic year.
Was that the only reservation you had when coming to the opening of applications for 2024? Because it seems that in general you welcomed the opening of the applications, but you'd said with the level of reservation, was the lateness the only reservation that you had, or was there more issue that you had at this point, or you have at this point?
No, you see, the lateness was indicative of certain failures and certain incompetencies of NSFAS. It was not natural. So this is why we accept it, we welcome it, but we can't fully welcome it because it is unfortunate, not because I'm a prophet of doom, but it is unfortunate that we will most likely run into glitches, because also to leave the fact that it was opened late is a testament of their incompetence. But the fact that you opened late, even when NSFAS opens early October, for instance, what would happen is that towards the end of the application, the system would often crash because of the high concentration of students that are applying. That was within a longer time frame. So you can imagine within a shorter time frame that we are almost guaranteed that we are going to have system crashes and etc. So those are some of the things that give us reservations. And also, as we had said, one of the reasons why we had wanted the applications to open early, we wanted them to open while schools were open, because schools have been great tools for us, for students to have access, some to computers and internet for them to be able to apply, some to teachers that will assist them to apply, etc. Now it is holidays, and those that are living in rural areas and rural communities where there's no access, either to the internet or whatever forms of resources that they would gain in a school, it means those students will only be able to apply when schools open, to go back to their schools and they're picking up their matric results to try and apply. So, and this one would think this is an exception. It's not an exception. We've got many schools and many communities that still do not have access to the resources that are needed, particularly internet and the gadgets, to be able to apply to NSFAS. So these are some of the reservations we still have, although obviously we welcome it being open now.
Yeah. How have the students responded? Of course, you've urged them to make use of the opportunity and apply immediately. What have you heard from prospective students and those who want to indeed apply to NSFAS?
There was huge, even on social media, people would have picked it up. There was huge uncertainty and worry from students that NSFAS was not yet open. So there is a level of relief that it will be opening tomorrow. So we stand to see really what will be the experience of the students and the prospective students once it opens, assuming that there's no other issues, and actually tomorrow, as per their declaration, that tomorrow they open. So we will be able to study further there as to how has it been received by prospective students and what is the experience of the students, including the usability of the system, because we believe that NSFAS might have made some changes into the interface. So we also will have to test also the usability and the experience of students to be able to apply effectively.
Yeah. There was also the issue of allowances being insufficient. And of course, various student groupings, certainly yourselves, have complained about the fact that the allowances are not sufficient. Talk to us about what you're asking for. I understand that you're saying that it should be taken up to 2,000 Rand per month, and there's been other demands that you've made. Let's talk about this issue of allowances. It is quite an important one.
Yes, we are saying that the living allowances of students must be increased. Last year, we were able to get a 10% increase. And as much as it might sound like a lot, it was nothing considering the fact that the last time allowances of students had increased was actually in 2018. Despite all the inflations over the years, averaging at around about 5% per year for the last 6 years, the allowances of students remained the same while economic conditions worsened. So we had agreed. In fact, the 2,000 was actually our demand from last year, but we were not able to get it, and Treasury made a presentation of why they could not meet that demand, and we agreed with the department that it's fine, let the students get a 10% increase on the provision that next year we will be able to get the 2,000 for the students. So it is based on that. It is insufficient as it is, even that 2,000, but we believe it will assist the students greatly to be able to meet their basic needs, to have the food, the sanitary products, the toiletries, and all those things that they might need. Because we also appreciate, by the way, that because the students come from poor and working class backgrounds, some of them regrettably have to send money back home because people at home are starving. We've got many of students who have been doing that. Some of them, as you would have seen them now on social media, those that have not received their allowances, they are stranded. They are not able to go home because they also use it for taxi fare and for buses to go back home. So there are many things students use these allowances for throughout the academic year. Hence, we then believe that this should be strengthened to assist the students much more effectively.
All right, Asive, thank you very much for giving us your time. Asive Tlanjwa is the South African Union of Students spokesperson, talking to us, of course, on the engagement which is in deliberations, of course, with NSFAS regarding the conclusion of the 2024 funding guidelines.